I'm your host, Sharada Devi, of the Born to be Free podcast that serves as a bridge between the ancient and the new era, a confluence of opposites where all is seen as sacred and every experience is meant to catapult you into your supreme destiny.
Welcome to another episode of the Born to be Free podcast. I am Sharada Devi, your host. And here in Mother Bali, today we are in Swasti Eco Cottages, a very beautiful retreat center in New Kuning, a village outside of Ubud. Actually, New Kuning is also a place where I lived for half a year before I moved to Panistana, the place of fullness. A very sweet village where we're hosting our upcoming priestess initiation training. And we're here today to bring our spirit and our love and intention to this place. And I have my dear, dear friend and sacred sister with me. She's for the second time here on the Born to be Free podcast. A very different scene. Last time it was snowing and we were in the Alps. And now we are here in Madhubali, in New Kuning, where you also live. And Gaiana is part of the upcoming priestess initiation training, offering a sacred, very special rite of passage dedicated to menopause, dedicated to the wise woman. And she is a wise woman. She has gone through her sacred turning of the ocean, meeting her fullness, fullness complete. Quite a story. Background from Brazil originally and studied in Germany back in the days and dedicated her life to yoga and myofascial release back in the days and then became a trauma therapist. And well, there's so much to say. You know how much I adore and love you and everything we have gone through and that we get to be here. Also right now at a very special time where you've decided to close another chapter of your life, and we're going to talk about so many of these things. So, warm welcome, dearest Gaiana Devi.
Everyone, Devi Sharada. It's such an honor to be here today and be invited again to to be here in your podcast, which I adore, simply love it. And I know everyone you invite so special. So I feel myself very special as well. And also be part of your program for the second year. Yeah. Guiding
The third,
and
actually.
the third.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow,
Actually,
time is
time.
flying.
Yeah.
The third time, and really, if I can be the one to guide and to lead the women in this next phase of their lives, which is the menopause, but they're becoming empress and queens and Amazon, and it's just a such a powerful moment in our lives, such a powerful transition. And yeah, I feel one of my dharmas is guide the young women, prepare them to arrive there. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this desire to support women into this next phase. And I know it has so much to do with your own journey that you have gone through the last 5 years.
Exactly. It has been 2019. She didn't tell me, she didn't advise me that she was going to stop. She was not going to be present in my life anymore.
When you say she, you mean
She
the
is my
sacred
moon,
moon, the blood.
the sacred her, the sacred goddess of the blood. Yeah. And it was surprise, but also I feel we are prepared. We are getting prepared anyway. And life, what I noticed is that I was so busy. I was so much in my sympathetic trauma response of the fighting and moving towards something and conquering and creating in that way that I was not really listening to my body.
Mm.
So when I say that she didn't tell me,
Mm.
when I stop and I reflect, I think she was giving me signs, but I was not listening.
What were the signs she
The
gave you?
sign is interesting that I started to get very impatient and very I stopped taking bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And normally that is one of the first signs because
Mm.
as estrogen drops, this is next phase of our lives. It's about what is my truth? What do I need? What am I aligned here?
Mm.
And I feel the first breakdown was my relationship
Mm.
because yeah, right? The estrogen and the progesterone and all this taking care of someone else and carrying someone else, which was part of the whole sacred play, and
Mm.
it's honest and part of it. I noticed that just 3 months before I stopped completely bleeding,
Mm.
my relationship started getting really unbearable because I could not handle anymore to keep on taking care of someone else that was not me.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that is a very clear sign that
Mm.
we all can pay attention
Mm.
because the progesterone is the hormone that we have so present in our bodies to become a mother, to take care of the family, to hold the space for others, for your family.
Mm.
So when that two hormones they start decreasing, it's me time.
Mm. Mm.
It's me time.
Mm.
And that was a powerful moment
Mm.
of realization, okay, in the old times, they used to call women on menopause
Mm.
hysterical and crazy
Mm. Mm.
because they would go through that moment of say, enough.
Mm.
I can't do that anymore.
Mm. Can't abandon myself.
I can't abandon
Yeah.
myself.
Mm.
So I knew that I was not hysterical or crazy,
Mm.
but something very strong was happening inside. And I didn't have that information. All the information I gathered was in the moment that I stopped the bleeding and my whole world started falling apart and
Yeah.
deconstructing. Was a big deconstruction
Mm. Mm.
of all what I was holding.
Mm.
And one thing that was very important, and I noticed for many of us women, if you already are in a big burnout in
Mm.
your life,
Mm.
she, the blood, her,
Mm.
she stopped earlier.
Mm.
We stopped bleeding earlier
Mm.
because we are already in burnout.
Mm.
So the symptoms from now on will be stronger
Mm.
than someone who is more regulated, who is more healthy in their system, the
Mm.
nervous system and in the body,
Mm.
can handle the symptoms, I think, more easy,
Mm.
more softly than someone who is already in burnout because there is a big relationship, very direct connection with cortisol and estrogen.
Mm.
So estrogen drops, cortisol kicks up. And then I was experiencing all of that
Mm.
in the countryside of Brazil, where is my home place
Mm.
that I didn't live for 25 years
Mm.
with my husband,
Mm.
who the relationship was already clear that a lot was not working
Mm.
anymore. And it was like, yeah, transformation,
Mm. Mm. Yeah, profound transformation.
profound
Profound.
transformation.
And you really ritualized your life and poured all this energy also into a sacred creation of Kanika. Yeah. I mean, like really literally, I feel like Kanika came
Was the
as the
expression
expression.
of my potential, my
Yeah,
creativity, my
yeah,
power,
yeah.
the expression of the power of my sexuality that
Mm.
finally, just after stop the bleeding
Mm.
and reconnecting to myself, I could understand how my sexuality, how
Mm.
numb I was and I wasn't. It's really interesting
Yeah,
that
I remember so well.
right?
Yeah.
And you supported me so much on that
Mm-hmm.
journey because yeah, it's a fact that as estrogen drops and we lose libido and things start shifting um, around our sexual desires and pleasure and for a moment was scary,
Mm.
but I never lost hope because I
Mm.
knew something was on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And when I kept on doing practices and being supported, and from one day to another, I was so horny.
So,
I
yeah.
was so like
Mm.
pleasure became a very important part of my life, like
Mm.
really connecting and listening. So I feel the creation of this sacred clothing brand, which
Mm.
was a ritual,
Mm.
ritual pieces. It was
Every
not just
single one of
clothes,
them. No,
and
no.
you probably have 25 pieces from the beginning to the end. And that was very powerful because from the I felt like connected to my power, to my sexuality,
Mm.
to my pleasure.
Mm.
Creativity was just floating through me.
Yeah.
I was like
A
overflowing,
fountain.
a fountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
It's
fountain.
really a
It's
fountain.
really a fountain.
And we did many practices together.
We did. We are so good team on
Yeah.
that, and we are so supporting
Yeah.
each other and like bit and that
Yeah. I remember all our nights and witch nights and just going for it.
going for it.
Going for it. And bringing out the curandera, which you really are also, I feel. Like you. I feel that has come out even more during this time because you
Yeah.
have been a yoga teacher and a trauma therapist and a body worker and
Mm.
but then I feel like during this time now
The
the witch,
curandera.
the curandera really has awakened and
She did.
resurfaced.
She did because she was no longer scared.
Mm.
She knew she was not going to be killed.
Yeah.
She knew her neck, her head was not going to be cut. And with that certainty,
Mm.
she she could come through my body,
Mm.
through my being, because
Mm.
she was already there, kind of. She was asleep because there was so much fear for my past
Mm.
lives, for my ancestors,
Mm.
big time. But now she
Can you
knew.
tell a little bit about your ancestors and
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
I Yeah, I'm Brazilian,
Mm.
coming from northeast coast of Brazil, where we we have the largest number of African people. Like probably I grew up in an 85% of the population was brought from Africa in that region of Brazil, which is Salvador, which makes this region to be one of the most amazing city in the world because the music is there, the the magic is there. The people they do magic on the street, they play drums on the street, they dance on the street. Everything is so alive. The smells, the music, and the culture, right?
Mm.
And we have this very culture, very African culture influence
Mm.
from the slaves.
Mm.
So I grew up already playing capoeira on the street by the age of 5 years old.
Mm.
We on each barrio we have
What is a barrio?
a
Barrio.
barrio,
Mm. Like
right?
a
It's a little
village.
how do you call little part of the city. We have barrios, and in the barrios we have always a capoeira teacher on the street, on the
Mm.
football field.
Mm.
6 p.m. we all go to do capoeira every day
Mm.
in the night,
Mm.
and um, and also on each corner of the town you have a candomblé temple, and this candomblé temple is a Yoruba tradition that came to Brazil and mixed and made their own flavors, but it's very animistic. It's basically an animistic religion practice, which means it's all honoring and worshipping nature. So each part of nature is represented by a goddess or a god, like Iemanjá represents the sea, Oshun, the waterfalls and rivers, Yansan, the storm. So we have this whole culture. And so I grew up inside that practice, that spiritual practice, which not always was happy and safe. Many times it was very scary because people invoke spirits and they all of a sudden they are in trance. For a little child, when you see that, not understanding can be pretty dark and scary. And the practices that came from the slaves who were very wounded, and I still feel the wound of being killed and of being hurt and of not being part of a society in my body from my grandmother, from my great grandmother. So I come from half Portuguese and half slave, and that it, it's a lot. It's a lot to carry that imprint when can be quite confusing as a child. And but that made me to go deep on that and work with that magic, receive their codes to help releasing their pain. And that was my commitment. What I'm releasing my body, what I have been releasing my womb, it's for them as well. We are doing. You told me the other day. I think I was in agony with a lot of pain the other day, not long ago, maybe a month ago. And you said to me, "You're doing for all your ancestors, Evie. You're doing now for all the women." And I can feel that. It has been a journey through.
This is really something to just take a moment to acknowledge that when we go through something, like, it's not your pain. It's the pain of your mother and your grandmother and her mother and her mother. It's the pain of your father and his father and his father. Like, we're carrying the lineage in us, the joy and the beauty, but also the pain and the suffering.
Exactly.
And this, get to remember this again and again and again when we go through this, or when those moments come, and at times it feels like it's never ending.
Exactly.
It feels like it at sometimes, that it's never ending, but there is an end, as though
There is an end.
there is an end once you discover who and what you truly are.
Yeah.
But then in terms of the relative and your story, yes, there will always be more. And there is an end.
There is an end.
Yeah.
And there is a choice
Yeah.
that we can consciously make that was very a big realization for me as well. I do ancestral work, right? At my family constellation and ancestral healing. And the belief that we are always here to purge and to clear the wounds of our ancestors, at some point, we also can set boundaries and say, hey, I did, and you did as well. You paid so much already, that price, that wound has been healed. So it's our choice, is how much we going to keep healing for our ancestors as well. Because they don't know. They just, if you're a vessel,
Yeah.
they just going to keep on coming through with their wounds. And it's like, okay, do I going to spend the rest of my life now still healing wounds for my ancestors that now settle my boundaries? And that was a very big realization. It's like, yes, I can do that because I feel I did enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important also to know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
when it's enough.
Exactly. Yeah. And then when another wave comes, and you are with the wave.
Yeah, with the
Like
wave.
in the Vedic tradition, we have this image of the deity of Dakshinamurti, who is the first teacher of Vedanta, of self-knowledge, the knowledge of the limitless self. And there's image where he sits and one of his foot is down, and underneath there is this, it's called the apasmara. And the apasmara represents the unconscious. And so, like, he has his foot on the apasmara, but not too strong to not crash the unconscious, to not be in denial or negate it, but also not too loose because it could just suddenly also
Fly
fly.
away. And
So it's like
yeah,
keeping it in check, like being aware that we have an unconscious. And life brings situation, people, circumstances where they become mirrors, and then something from the unconscious can be released again. But then also we don't have to always go and search for it
exactly.
and like look for it. Like that
Keep
can be there.
watching it.
Just be aware of it, watching. When it comes, okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. And then when
Right.
it goes, okay, go, 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 go. Yeah.
Not being called,
Exactly.
calling in all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because we have choices.
Yeah.
I do believe that
Yeah.
we are here choosing.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Choosing every
We have
day.
a free will.
Free will.
Yeah.
Things will come, but we are choosing.
Yeah.
Okay, the circumstances here, there will be always two ways of dealing with
it.
what appears.
Yes.
That's our choice.
Yeah.
Not always what is going to come up, but definitely how I'm going to relate to it,
And respond to it.
respond to it.
And then use all the tools.
So that is choice.
Yeah.
Use all the tools.
Right.
Exactly.
And you have many tools that you've gathered over this last many years. Yeah. And unless you have the tools, we also get to remember or share with you, because people come to the spiritual awakening, to healing, and it takes time. Like, you receive these tools and then you use these tools, and for them to really become
Integrate.
your tool and integrate, you require time. So patience is crucial. And
Yeah.
support, a community, mentors, teachers,
Exactly.
grace, the altar. Like, these are all factors that are crucial.
And then it comes to, as you're saying that, one thing pops in my mind about embodying it. Because the body is the last part, the last piece which information drops and sink. So once you embody your knowledge, once you embody the tools, there is nothing any else to hold on or to do.
Exactly.
You're just there.
You're just there.
It's your presence.
It's just there.
It's the presence,
just
the
there.
knowing
Yeah.
that it's here.
Yeah.
Come.
Let's go.
Come near.
Yeah.
And
And that requires quite something. Like, I'm also like really assimilating that so profoundly in my life that just my presence is enough
Exactly.
for things to bubble up for people.
Right.
And people come into my field, and then you're that vessel, and things start to, I can feel them, I can perceive them. I feel how my head suddenly starts to hurt a little bit here, or have suddenly this pain here, and I'm like, I know this is not mine.
Yes.
And to be able to differentiate, it took me quite some time, because it's so easy to say this is not mine, and then wanting to kind of negate
push,
it,
yeah.
right? And then, like, no, there's a time for owning up. This is my stuff. This is my inner child. This is my karma in this life to feel and
What
to
is mine?
release, to differentiate what is mine. And then there comes a time where you've gone through a big chunk of your own healing, and then your presence and you're embodied, and then you can perceive what's going on in the field.
Yes.
And that's so much the priestess work or the witch work, where just your presence is there, and you become that channel, or you can help
Exactly.
for people to release whatever is there
Yeah.
in their field that they are not yet aware of or don't know how to release.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the priestess.
That's the priestess, yes.
That's the priestess.
Yeah.
And she just arrives.
Yeah.
But of course, we don't gain that just because we wake up and we go to drink coconuts, and we stay out there like la la la. This is a rewarding
Yeah.
of all the effort and dedication and journey
Yeah.
that we had journeyed ourselves. So we can only embody what it is when
Yeah.
you really experience it.
Yeah.
And then you go through transformation
Yeah.
and shedding, and
Yeah.
we don't override.
No.
We don't bypass.
No. We
That's what
cannot. Right?
we cannot bypass.
No. And wasn't it also fascinating, like for me on this sexual healing, like, and I remember, like, when we did a lot of sexual healing,
Mm.
and things would come up for you, like different memories, and like I remember a time like, oh wow, like she also still has that. You know, it's like I
Exactly.
literally thought that, like, okay, you've done all this trauma work, and then
Which is sweet,
it's
right?
so sweet, right? And then you
Mm.
realize, okay, no, she hasn't met that fully to the degree that
Is that?
is needed. And then I woke up to that now over the last few years more and more, because so many women have come and to do sexual healing, sexual empowerment,
Yeah.
and just realizing, like we all have sexual trauma, like
Yes,
every single being,
I do
and
believe so
like
as well.
every single being has a certain amount of sexual trauma, and
Yeah.
that's kind of, yeah, that has really sunk in these last few years. Yeah, and it requires so much love and safety to be able to meet this. And especially,
Safety.
right, because also for people who have been on the spiritual journey, have done therapy, who have done
Mm.
all kinds of things, and you may feel like, I'm okay, and you are okay. Like that's also true. You are okay and full
Okay.
and complete, and you don't need to do all this healing. But at the same time,
What else do you want to experience?
yes. And how much can you
How
feel? How much
much
pleasure can you
can you
feel and
experience? Can
experience?
you feel?
And you can never
Right?
feel the amount of pleasure unless you have really
You
gone to the
really gone
depths of
there.
your pain.
Exactly. Exactly. I hear from people as well, very
Yeah,
much. I'm okay. Why am I
yeah,
going to do this trauma
yeah,
work? I'm okay. Why am I
yeah,
going to do sexual work?
yeah,
And the okayness allows us to experience not so much pain, but not the fullness of pleasure
exactly.
and joy and like the
And
ecstasy of
aliveness and
life.
vibrancy and
Ecstasy,
vitality. Yeah,
right?
ecstasy.
Like the ecstasy of life, like
Mm,
fully.
yeah,
If you don't step down here, really deep down, you would not. I feel like it's the bouncing, and
yeah.
you bounce all the way up to your maximum of ecstasy,
Mm,
pleasure. And yeah, it's big.
mm,
As you were talking, something came to my mind, which in a young age,
mm,
I always experienced orgasm.
mm,
So I had orgasm, I would have self pleasure and come into full orgasmic moment. And yet I was frozen.
mm,
And then people ask me how one
mm,
can be froze
mm,
and have an orgasm.
mm,
An orgasm can be a condition.
mm,
It's anyone can have sex
mm.
without intimacy,
Yeah,
without really
dropping
dropping
in.
in, without to really feel. And that's what I felt. I was overriding my feelings,
Yeah, yeah.
like the intimate moment with all the partners. I'm 51 now, and I started having sex. I was 15.
Mm,
So
mm.
how much I overrode
Yeah,
all my sexual life,
yeah,
most of my life.
yeah.
And not
Mm,
until I stopped having sexual desire, the menopause came, no more libido, went through all this work in a very deep level, right? Meeting my pain, meeting the sexual trauma, going to find the pleasure again, self love, self care, self pleasure, that I started having a completely different relationship and connection to my sexuality and my pleasure. So and then was like, oh, I didn't have yet a, an opportunity to share that new me with the new man.
Yes.
I mean, I had a couple of lovers throughout the way. My focus was really using my sexual energy to create those incredible sacred clothes and really find myself back who I am now. But I'm really looking forward for what is to have make love with fully present in your being. Because I know I can, because I can give that to myself.
Yes.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
And that's another big part because a lot of us, we think just because we have sex and we come, we don't have any sexual trauma. We are
Exactly.
encountering, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you know that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
How it's two different things.
It's another
Have
thing.
an orgasm or be intimate,
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fully like open, receptive to the subtlety of our existence, really, like, and the existence that is in every cell of our being, and how deeply can we be intimate with every cell of our being. Like, the intimacy has so many layers. After all these years, I notice another layer is melting, and another layer is melting, and another layer is melting, and it's like this this life breath, the breath of life is truly returning with every orgasm, that I'm fully present,
Yeah.
and especially take time to integrate the experience. That is so crucial. And after we orgasm, that we actually come to stillness. And I find,
That's
like, most of the time,
integration.
that's actually where everything starts to melt, like those tensions, those shame that is still like different shame related to different moments of our life when we didn't fully honor ourselves, when we said yes when we actually meant no, or and no when we meant yes. And
It's the rewiring.
yeah, exactly.
Like in any trauma healing, when one has a release, so the somatic nervous system is operating there when you are doing and moving and then sending all these messages to the autonomic nervous system. And it's not until the action is completed. It can happen in a catharsis, in a completion of a movement, a completion of making love. It's in that moment when that is completed that the whole nervous system is rewiring.
Yeah.
So this whole new information. So it is essential and like to stop and allow that time
Yeah.
for that integration, be present with it.
And
Because
especially also the eyesight. What I've noticed is that really, like, you gotta open your eyes and like really see the surrounding. Like, this is the reality, what I have created right now for myself.
exactly,
Like, this
not
was
living the memory.
not living in the memory, because the old traumas, like, they kick in every time, or not every time, but a lot in my case.
Yeah.
Old traumas, the image, the man or the situation, it would kick back when I make love to myself. And then, like, that's where then we use the holistic tools of breath and sound to be in the felt sense. But then really the eyesight has been so important to rewire the image, that old image, to the new image, and then really taking the the scenery in. And that's why also Bali is so magical about that, because it's so beautiful here. It's so rich in color and smells, and then I would create this situation for myself, and that's what we also do in the priestess, and
Right.
like to really create a scene, which is not a scene, but it is a scene, a setup, a
Yes,
conscious,
because
most
we are
beautiful
rewiring
setup.
nervous
We're
system.
rewiring the nervous system.
And then why not to rewire the nervous system in this beauty, the beauty of God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here it's like the
Yeah.
whole island is in constant reverence and ritual and honoring. It's a culture of honoring. And so then naturally that is also in the field. Like, that
Beauty
honoring.
is honored here.
Yes, beauty is
Definitely.
honored. And then
Beauty.
you have that, you do this love rituals to yourself. That is then the imprint, the new samskara, the new impression, that then you
Exactly.
can start to think of when you think of sex.
Exactly. Exactly. It is
And connect
essential.
sex to safety. Because for
into
many people,
reality
the
now,
reality, yes, exactly.
to safe it into what is real now.
Yeah.
What is my reality is that I'm in my beautiful joglo in this amazing, beautiful bed with all the Balinese goddesses structures in Bali, in Ubud, today, in this moment, and my eyes are open to register that.
Yeah.
So my nervous system receives that information that now it's safe.
Yeah.
And it can release.
Exactly. And I want to say that if you're not in Bali, you can still do all of that.
Yes.
But that's why it's so important. You create a beautiful temple, a sanctuary for yourself. You get beautiful cloths, you get flowers, you get incense, and you create a sanctuary in your bedroom.
Yeah.
And so then when you do the healing, you look around, you take in this is the reality.
And
this is how I'm
really,
honoring myself.
Safety is, for me, safety is always a relative safety, because it can never be absolutely, because someone can say I'm in Bali, but it's still, I can appear a snake in my bedroom, but
which is actually a good sign. It means it's very auspicious and you're
can
connecting
be
to this
amazing,
transformation.
right? You're about to do your sexy
You're like
magic,
shedding your skins.
and this big snake appear on the
that
top
would
of
be
your
like very
bed.
auspicious.
Oh my God! And then you go for it.
Like
Pray for the snake to appear in my bedroom.
and you see, like in Christian culture, and the snake has been demonized and looked upon as inauspicious. In reality, the snake is a very auspicious symbol and sign of transformation and the rising of your sacred energy.
The rise of the Shakti, the Kundalini, the snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it has been so forbidden. So forbidden. So yes, it's so good to be here in the next phase of the Empress life. Empress and
so you decided to close Kanika temple where?
I did. I did. It has been a 3 years beautiful, incredible. Beautiful is not even giving enough justice. But incredible creations. I would wake up in the middle of the night, like 3 in the morning, and go to the workshop because I had this vision of where to put more ikats. So, and yet I was feeling that I had to choose. The healing in my life was coming very strong with the Bali Somatic Trauma Healing Center. I opened as a healing center and felt like now that work is really calling me again, because I'm ready again. In the moment that I stopped working with trainings and therapies and healing, I was in a big burnout. I was in a big transformation. So I had to give myself space and time to also recover. It would not be fair to keep on seeing clients and students when I was not feeling strong in my own self, in my own being. And then the clothes came as my hobby. Now I'm a fashion designer. It became really sweet and was so much fun. And
also difficult sometimes.
And
I want to say that.
Exactly. Not so.
Not only pleasure.
If it was only pleasure and fun, I would have continued. But because we face challenge in anything you wanna do. And it requires much more time and energy than I was able to give, as I was like divided. It just happened like 3 weeks ago. And it is still very tender in my heart. As I was very divided, not giving enough attention to the healing center, the trainings and therapies, and to Kanika. One day, the goddess showed me. So I sat in full meditation, asked my body, and was clear. The beauty and the pleasure of Kanika was also a big heaviness, because I had to give myself much more time to that project. So when I connected to the healing space, was very clear in my heart. My heart was opening like this. My whole body was like blooming. And I felt, okay, this is my Dharma. I didn't put myself to experience and study for 30 years. I remember my first yoga teacher was 18. My first meditation teacher, it's like, I'm 51 now. I did my whole life dedicated to that. It's not fair that the universe life used this body in this lifetime gave me so much. And now it's like, okay, what I do with that? What am I doing with that? So embrace it and share and hold others. There is so many women that can be held. Men and women. Doesn't have my healing, what I came here, what is coming through me. I feel it's for everyone. Children, women, men, elders. And yeah, it made a very clear picture of what I had to choose that I could not keep on doing. And it was just New Year's. I was doing my resolutions for 2025. And this realization came, okay, you cannot keep on coping with two big businesses anymore because it's going to kill you. You're going to get into burnout again. And that's, I just healed and I'm so aware. It's like, no, give space and with space, I can offer more and I can offer more to myself as well. And it feels complete. It feels like on each one that I see wearing these clothes, I feel part of me that has been offered and give this life, makes women so happy. And I feel like it has so much powers because of the weaving as well, the symbols, the weaving, and it's a powerful piece that people feels empowered, protected, more beautiful, more like ready to hold their ceremonies, right? I think this came with a time, clear time to exist. Kind of, I feel very clear. The little Kanika girl
Yeah.
who came into my life, and one day I had this vision on the beach when I was walking and crying a lot, feeling quite lost and a lot of pain. And I've had this apparição, how do you say it? Like
Aparecer, yeah.
she appeared.
Appeared.
She appeared and she
Appearance.
said, "Don't worry, I got your back." And her name was Kanika. So yeah, it feels like she had the completion. She had the life of 3 years that she was here to do that project with me. Something was very powerful about that project. It was very powerful. And now I'm releasing it. With a lot of reverence and gratitude. You're going to be there doing the puja, my priestess. So we're going to have a ceremony for closing. And it's going to be a chapter of my life. A beautiful chapter of my life. Isn't that what life is about? So many chapters. Like we do and we close and we do and because we're not doing anything. We even think that we are doing. How much is like they're using this body, this vessel, for us to really do the Dharma, right? So it feels beautiful completion and so supported by the community as well. So supported. Everybody showing so much love and gratitude for that. Yeah. So now this new chapter, it's very clear that the world needs more embodiment. As women, we're so afraid and panic, horror of stop bleeding and who they gonna be, what they gonna do, that or who not they gonna be, because the fear and the panic of dry, of becoming nobody, of losing their beauty and their power, it's big.
It's so big.
And for moments I experienced that, of course. But there was something bigger. I think my practices, my community, women who are next to me and could remind me of my power, of my beauty, no, you're not dry. You're not gonna dry. No, you're fucking more
You're
juicy.
motherfucking sexy.
You're motherfucking sexy, juicy. So much, if that is a concern. But yes, it needs to be cultivated. Because what?
Everything we've been fed is the opposite.
Exactly.
Everything, right? And look at
The reason
everything.
I arrived here in that condition, feeling amazing and strong and powerful and clear, because it was a cultivation. I didn't spend the last 30 years of my life in bars, in parties, drinking alcohol, taking drugs, getting wasted, and not taking care of my body as a temple, not taking care of my nervous system, my mind. My I dedicated life, and that's what I feel is how can women cultivate for how they gonna arrive there, how they gonna arrive here,
Absolutely.
and all the rites of passage that comes before
Are essential for
are
that.
essential.
Essential.
Because if you didn't accept or died from the menarche to the mother, you're still gonna be wearing your little skirt as if you was 60,
Exactly. You still want to be
16
the
years old.
princess.
You still want to be the little princess, the
And
little girl.
you will see
one
young girls and suddenly you're jealous of a young girl.
jealous of young girl,
Insecure.
insecure. So you can arrive to your menopause, to your the phase where you most powerful. Like it's a different power.
Yeah.
It's a different power. I feel all phases they have their power and it's so powerful. The fire power, the kapha power, right? The little babies and the vata power.
Storm.
It's a storm. It's the sun. And yeah, it's rites of passage. And was not until I had my Empress de la Maga, the Amazon rite of passage, that I didn't stop having these hot flashes in the middle of the night. I was like, no, that is time to stop, like still sweating, hot, cold, like AC, blanket. Oh, it can be crazy. It can be crazy. Or you are having dinner with your friend, and then all of a sudden this wave of sweat is dropping, and you're like, thank God I'm in Bali because everybody's sweating here. But
Nobody notices.
nobody notices. But when in the middle of Switzerland, in the Alps, and the sweat, it's not fun. But it's part of the burning of the purification. Because if you're not purifying every month through your blood, how your body is going to purify? With waves of heat and sweat. So it's perfect. And it's embracing and accepting all that was my rite of passage. Understanding that, yes, there is something new here that I am fucking afraid and I'm pushing away because I always been told that I'll be a hysterical, crazy, dry, ugly witch in the middle of the jungle, alone.
And nobody will love you.
And nobody will love
We'll
me.
never find another man again.
Never.
Never, ever.
So, man. And yeah, and I was experiencing that in my marriage, where my partner was confessing to me that his sexual desire for me stopped because I didn't have my pheromones anymore. And that was like death. But I had to go through it. Oh, life gave me all to say, hey, now what do you do with all
Yeah.
your capacity, all what you have been cultivating, and what the help you
Mm.
need,
Mm.
support,
Mm.
and your tools. So it felt like, yeah, I was the best at school. Was a post graduation, was my PhD. No need for anything. Was the
Mm.
PhD,
Mm.
the rite of passage of the menopause, and to enter in that
Mm.
new phase.
Mm.
And we are not crowns yet.
Mm.
No, we are far away for that.
Mm.
I feel we do have, I do have 20 years of full power creativity and creations and in my life
Mm.
from now on,
Mm. Mm.
and then something else will come.
Mm.
If I live until that,
Mm.
feels like something shifts by our 70s,
Mm.
80s. This is
Mm.
another phase.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Ah. Mm. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and being you,
Mm.
strong through your vulnerability and your sincerity and
Mm.
authenticity. I pray that all women in the world can hear this
Mm.
and know what it means to become a wise woman, a Virudha, an Amazon, Maga, to celebrate that phase together like we are doing.
Mm.
Yeah, life is meant to celebrate, to honor it.
Yeah. Honoring, celebrating, and gather with your beloved
Yeah,
sisters. That is, I feel, is very powerful
yeah.
as well. Then you're not alone.
Mm-mm. Mm.
Right? We're not alone.
Mm. Aho,
I hope.
aho.
Mm.
So yeah, we have our priestess initiation training coming up very soon, 18 days in Mother Bali,
Mm.
and going from birth all the way to death, honoring each of those stages and transitions and making up for them
Mm.
and creating that imprint, rewiring that nervous system, honoring life and ourselves and each other in sacred community. So I feel so privileged that you're there
Mm.
holding space and offering this rite of passage. And for those that cannot come to Bali right now, there's many other ways. Actually, the priestess is also online available, self-paced, so one can
Yeah.
get that. We have the whole priestess recorded. And we also have many other offerings that you have. Do you want to share a little bit
Yeah.
how people can work with you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a somatic trauma healing center in Bali, and people can always come for immersions, private immersions, and they can also do online sessions with me. I'm available for private Zoom sessions in all the work of ancestral healing, somatic experiencing, developmental trauma, and if you want to be guided by in the menopause in your time, if you're having any, yeah, if you feel like you can do well with some support for that phase, I'm here for you.
Mm.
And yeah, I have a somatic embodiment training coming up in Bali, and you're going to be, we're going to have a pleasure to have you sharing and holding some space for the embodied sexuality, right? And then I have a trauma release breathwork training in Bali as well in May. So yeah, from the priestess to the muse.
And then we have the Muse training coming up.
Exactly.
Yes, the
So much.
devoted, embodied Vedic integrating coaching certification, which is really a trauma-informed sacred sexuality
Mhm.
1-year course that we're running online. And there we really,
For the third time.
for the third time,
Yeah.
yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, with an incredible faculty, which you're part of, and going through all the ABC so that then it can become embodied. And it requires time for that. That's why it's a whole one
Exactly.
year training.
Exactly. understanding that, right?
Yeah.
Giving. It's an amazing program. I know that. I'm also so honored to be part of it again. And yeah, we are creating a lot of magic, a lot of special programs for you to be held. Yeah, the world needs more that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really Devi or the goddess, the universe that is doing her work through you,
Exactly.
through me, through all of these women that are so dedicated to
Vessels,
their dharma.
vessels.
Yeah.
And it's important to know why we become really clear vessels, because that's our job. Because we give time for for the goddess to embody in our bodies. I feel that, like, to be aware of all that work needs time.
Yeah.
Needs time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. You don't go to college, have a lesson, and then all of a sudden make notes in your book and you are embodied.
No.
So then the goddess really does the
Yeah.
work very well through you
Very well.
as a vessel,
Very well. Yeah.
as the sacred vessel.
And that's the beauty,
Yeah.
to be with it and the process and the moments. And we've heard it so many times that it's not about the destination, it is about the journey
Mm.
here and now. And to meet what is here and now, the actual, dropping all ideals. And in that, we discover that we are lovable exactly as we are,
Mhm.
with all our pains and struggles and desires and hurts and grief and
Yeah.
embarrassment, all of it. Ah, so I feel complete here. Is there anything else you would like to share with
Mm.
our community?
So much love. So much love, Devi, and admiration for the work you are doing as well, and to be part of it. Always being part of it. Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope the podcast will arrive in many, many women's phone, iPads, computers that can get inspired.
Yeah,
They can get inspired and say, wow, that is me.
yeah,
That is me,
that is you.
right?
Yes, and men, I want all the men to hear it also, and
And
because men
man.
need to know, and inviting more men into the field
Mm-hmm.
because
I
there's a lot.
know. Yes,
Yes, yeah,
for sure. If they're more close, they'll
yeah,
get a better understand, and then we
exactly.
understand them better, and they understand
And we
us
have
better.
better sacred relating moments.
Exactly. Everybody's just better.
And we can support each other and
Exactly.
grow.
Because
We
we love
love
man.
men.
Ay.
I mean, we love cucumbers also. They're amazing, but
Hmm. We're not filming this,
yeah,
right?
of course. Where are we gonna plant? I told my friend the other day, I'm just gonna plant cucumbers now. What happened
Gonna
to
be a food
Sharada? She
planting
became a cucumber
cucumber.
planter.
Cucumber crop in her garden. And then you can have cucumbers workshops.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm having one soon with the people with my queens from the diamond.
Okay, the cucumber
The
workshop.
cucumber. Yeah, until now I always used the dildos, but nowadays I'm all about cucumbers. They're
I
so good for our
skirt was the
yonis,
cucumber for the
alkaline.
first time.
Yeah.
It's just so soft that you
Yeah.
can really go there.
Yeah.
And as you're rubbing there, it's
Yeah.
like you cannot do it with the glass.
No, you cannot.
Fantastic.
And it's full of pleasure, right? Don't you want your food to be full of
A
pleasure?
pleasure.
And then your whole body feels even more pleasure.
All right.
I mean, I think that's better than cows that are scared
Yeah.
in a all together in a prison and scared
Yeah.
of death, and having vegetables that are full of pleasure.
Pleasured vegetable.
Pleasured vegetable.
All
Then you
right.
have a body that is pleasured.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
Davis.
much. Thank you for listening, watching this episode. It's where you hear the truth. This is life in its fullness, and we're sharing our intimate secrets with you. But isn't that what we actually want to know the secrets.
Exactly.
So this is what we are, bone woman, like my teacher would say, nothing to hide. And
Who loves cucumber
we loves cucumber.
and man
Yeah, yeah. And all beings, of
and all
course.
beings.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. Born to be Free podcast. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, like it, share it with your community, and let us know what moved you. And we'll see you next time. Oh.
From my heart to yours, deepest gratitude for your presence. May you follow your wildest dreams, live your highest purpose, and expand into the infinite, because that's what you are.